Namaste and welcome back to the show Leadership Through Communication. As always, we have two eminent Toastmasters in our show. Today, we have two educators who are heading to different educational institutions. They are senior management and they are Toastmasters. Our first guest is Toastmaster Dipti Acharya, Director at Sanskriti International School, and our second guest is Toastmaster Chandrayan P. Shrestha, and he is the Club Growth Director of Area A1. Welcome to the show, Toastmaster Dipti and Toastmaster Chandrayan. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you for having us.
So I introduced both of you as senior management in educational institutions heading to schools that you both have different senior management positions in the schools that you are heading. You joined Toastmasters in a position where you were already in pretty good situation. How was it like? What was your experience joining Toastmasters? I will start with Toastmaster Dipti.
Thank you, Toastmaster Moon. I started Toastmaster journey a long time back. It's been 13 years that I joined Toastmasters. But when I joined Toastmasters, I didn't know or I didn't realize what the impacts would be. I didn't realize that I would become an even better speaker. As a young girl, I always used to participate in a lot of other activities like theatre and debate and things. So I knew that I could speak. Not very confidently probably, but I knew I could speak. But Toastmasters has changed my world way around, personally and professionally. So I can say that Toastmasters has taught me three things, which a lot of people say that two things they already say, but I would like to add three more. Two things is, of course, leadership and communication skill. You know, everybody says that is honed. But for me, three eminent things is networking, because you meet a lot of people at Toastmasters from apart from your profession. So it teaches you to listen, you hear different stories, and of course you make new friends. Secondly, it's positiveness. I've realized through these years, I've met the most positive people in my life, who've really inspired me. And it teaches you two things, reflection and feedback. And as they say, feedback is the breakfast for champions. You have to learn to reflect and you learn to get feedback as well. So that is something that you hone, so the positiveness. If you are not positive, you will not remain in Toastmasters. And the third thing is love for learning. You may have the best experiences in life, you may be most educated, but there's always room for improvement. So these three things have really helped me in my personal and professional life.
So that's wonderful. It's not just communication and leadership, but three different things that you have learned. Love for learning, networking and also positiveness. Those are all wonderful things. How about you, Toastmaster Chandrayan? What have you gained by joining Toastmasters?
Well, my Toastmaster journey is very young. It's just 2 years that I've been a member now, an active member. And a veteran Toastmaster once told me, a veteran in Nepal, told me just attend one meeting. And that one meeting you'll know what Toastmasters is all about, because it is for you, it is something for you. So it took me a long time to attend that one meeting. Initially, I was associated with various NGOs, and we shared a common platform. So in those meetings, I was always insisted that I should go for Toastmasters Club. But it never happened, because of my own professional engagement in my school and college, and this other voluntary hat that I wore as the chair for the Duke of Edinburgh International Award. But when I completed 2 terms, then I thought I'd just give it a try. And that one meeting made a complete difference in the way I took Toastmasters, and the meetings that I'm enjoying every week. Not only every week, but I attend almost 2-3 meetings in a week sometimes. So the reason why I am enjoying this journey now, as Toastmaster Dipti just mentioned, there are so many aspects. It's not only about communication and leadership. The other thing that I'll also agree with Toastmaster Dipti is networking. You have a wide range of connections here in Toastmasters who are all leaders in their own spheres. So we are not only mingling with educationists here, we already know Dipti and myself, we've known each other since a long time. But to come to a platform where you get to meet leaders from different walks of life and understand the philosophy, I think it has helped me professionally also. And these are the things that encourages you to go for these meetings and learn and develop yourself as an individual, learn strategies in how we can use those things in our organization. And I think the comradeship is really wonderful, and I think also the leadership aspect, where you are given different responsibility, and it's amazing to discover for yourself that you could do so many things in that same span of time. So my Toastmaster journey, though it's very young, I've been enjoying every day of it.
It's really interesting that you said you joined pretty late here, and still you got to learn so much by coming to Toastmasters. What's your suggestion to other senior management or teachers, senior teachers? What would you suggest to them? Maybe Toastmaster Chandrayaan, you can say about joining Toastmasters, or what they can gain from this.
It differs from individual to individuals. Like in my club, I've invited many of my friends who are already in the leadership positions, and the conversion rate has been very, very good. So like I said that it took me one meeting, maybe with few people it'll take 3 meetings, but they understand that it is for their personal development, because in other organization, other clubs that you have, such as Rotary Club or Lions Club, it is service to others. But here in Toastmasters, what I have discovered is, it is service for the others, but it is also service for yourself, where you develop as an individual, where you develop your communication skills, your leadership skills, your interpersonal skills, and everything that is required in an organization. So it is highly recommended to teachers. With teachers, it's challenging because there are other aspects as well, but we've had a few teachers come in, and this is a wonderful platform, because teachers are their means of doing the everyday work is communication. So if you are a good teacher, you are a good Toastmaster, and if you are a good Toastmaster, you are a better teacher. That's what I would say.
So Toastmaster Deepti, you were the one who started Bodhi Toastmasters Club. I remember that you were the president of Everest Toastmasters Club. When I joined, you were almost there as the president, and then you were the president of Bodhi Toastmasters Club when you started the club. And Bodhi is the club for educators and people who are associated with education profession. How was your experience as the presidents of 2 clubs, and then starting a club that is mainly for educators? And Toastmaster Chandrayaan just pointed out how good it is to be a Toastmaster educator and how that interlinks.
Right.
Yeah.
When I became the president of Everest Toastmasters Club, which was a long time back, I was actually pushed into it, rather coaxed into being the president, which I really was not very inclined towards. But once I took up the challenge, I had realized that there were mostly men in the club, and then I really tried to bring in a lot of women into the club. There were a lot of people who helped me develop as a president. I learned a lot, because even in Everest Toastmasters, I started from Sergeant at Arms. So I started right from the beginning, and I was the secretary, I was also the VPPR, I was VP membership, and then I went on to become the president. So it was a journey there as well. But the club was already established. Now coming to Bodhi Toastmasters, educators, like right now there are a few schools we call Kathmandu Quality Schools, where we meet every quarterly, and we work towards the development of teachers as well as students. So one fine day when we were having a meeting, someone asked, what about Toastmasters? And of course, me being a very passionate Toastmaster, started talking about Toastmasters. And then someone just said, why don't we have one for educators? And that really got me thinking. And because at that time there was a big leap in making a lot of clubs in Kathmandu, we said, okay, why not a club for educators? And that's how Bodhi Toastmasters Club happened. And I was a president for 1 year, and I'm already a IPP there. And we have a president over there, and we have another president coming up soon in June. So it's coming up well, and we are planning to open even more Toastmasters, because I feel, as Toastmaster Chandrayaan said, teachers need to communicate with children, with parents, with everyone. So if you don't know how to effectively communicate what you are trying to say, then you cannot actually communicate. So that is the reason teachers need to communicate, and in fact I'm going to start Sanskriti Toastmasters for our teachers as well soon, and that is going to be another in the pipeline. And we've also started the Gavel Club for our students, so there are many in the pipeline now.
So that's good. So maybe Toastmaster Chandrayan, you are in another school, and I believe you are also in part of the QKS. What would it take for your school, college, or school colleges like yours, which are QKS schools, to start a Toastmasters Club within your educational organization? Toastmasters Deepthi is already on the way. How about yours?
Yeah, I think the Gavel Club is a very interesting club. We do have public speaking. We have many other clubs, like we have a robotic clubs, we have a dramatic clubs, a dramatic club, drama and debating they do. And then this could be in line with drama, with debate, with public speaking. So we could start a Gavel Club. But when it comes to high school children, they have so many things to do. We already have laid out curriculum for them to follow, and we've added to the curriculum. And on top of that, they are supposed to do a lot of things which is not in the curriculum, but we connect them to the curriculum. Let me not put it as extracurricular activities, but it is a co-curricular activity that we try to invite, because the students have to have lots of skills when they go out to the world. We're talking about the 21st century skill. So public speaking is one of them, where they confidently speak their mind and effectively communicate the right way, in the right place, the right time. So I think Gavel Club is something that we've been thinking of, but it will take some time before it really takes shape. In my school or in my college, college is a little bit difficult because students have very limited time, and our youngsters are more focused with other things than getting into all these, the professional development or skill development that they want to. But I think if we get started somewhere, we will definitely get there.
I would like to add to Toastmaster Chandrayan actually, because Toastmasters is for people, adults above 18, and Gavel Club is for children who are under 18. I feel that because you already have a personality development course or maybe a debate club in your school, you can always change that into a Gavel Club, and it just runs on its own. Now, as you said, communication is a very, very important aspect of tomorrow's future, for the future generation. If you do not allow them to speak up right from when they are young, it will become difficult. Like for us ourselves, it took us a long time to come up and really speak confidently without being nervous or really losing that fear. So if the children lose that fear right from when they are young, then there's nothing stopping them. That is why Gavel Clubs are very good, and because we've started now in Sanskriti, we can always share how it can be done to other schools as well, and that is in the pipeline, as I said earlier, that we'll be doing with other quality Kathmandu schools as well.
Okay, so that was going to be my question as to how are you, I'm sure as a Toastmaster who has been a Toastmaster for over a decade, you must have influenced others a lot, and maybe you can influence even other schools to start clubs, Gavel Clubs maybe, or a Toastmasters Club if it is a college. How have you influenced? How has Toastmasters really helped you to influence, and what is that quality from Toastmasters that you take back to your life?
Right.
In that way.
As I said earlier, I started in 2007, but I started Sanskriti in the year 2010. And I think it was in 2010 or 11 I think, when I was having the curriculum evening, I was talking about, the curriculum of the school and everything. And at the end, I asked the parents, is there anything that you would like to ask? And one parent very nicely raised his hand and said, I have just one question. And I said, yes, you may ask. And he said, will my child be able to speak like you? And that was, I think, a really big turning point in my life, and I realized that Nepalese are very intelligent, but when it comes to actually speaking out in public or actually trying to sell their product or market themselves, we lack in the world. We are no less than anyone else in the world. We can really go and see that. But when it comes to speaking, and that confidence, that self-assurance is missing. And Toastmasters teaches you that. It teaches you to be really confident and to be fearless. So I feel that since I've been inspired and I've had the influence, and I can now influence people, you know, that this is important. And as I gave that example, if people are seeing that and people want that, then you are a catalyst, so you should be able to do it.
Yeah, I remember you were my first mentor, and you did influence me a lot, because when I joined, I was also not very sure. And I was asked, who would you like to have a mentor as? And I looked at you and I said, like, okay, I should have Toastmaster Dipti as my mentor, and I think I will have a lot of learning that I can get from you, and you were able to do that. Toastmaster Chandra, and you are now in a very influential position, not only in your life but in Toastmasters community itself also. I see that you've been a mentor to many people, you've been guiding other clubs also. I see that you are guiding clubs which are in colleges also. So how has this really helped you in your life also?
First of all, I would like to thank, there are two senior Toastmasters in this room today, and Dipti has been a mentor for me as well, and Toastmaster Moon also has been a mentor. So I think when you are a mentor, you prepare yourself better. When you're a teacher, you prepare yourself better. And I think, and the learning becomes even tremendous, because if I am going to a class to do a lesson, I must be prepared for all different type of questions that can come over. So my preparation would not just be 100%, but would be 101%. So as an individual, I think when you are mentoring, the challenges is there. You need to give out time, you need to talk, you need to sit down, you need to see what they have written, and then you need to rectify all this, come down, look at the technicalities of how things are done. But in this process, when you are coaching them, you are also having an amazing learning. So I think I have enjoyed mentoring people from different clubs. Like we have been able to charter 3 clubs, and hopefully in the end of March we'll be able to charter another new club. Our target was, the area target was to set up 3 new clubs, which we did it in very good time. And it's not only just few individuals who got together and got this, it was a team effort. So here you learn so many aspects, of how to work in a team. And then when the team is going up, you have to run up to get to them, to get to the team. So that way, mentorship and following on the mentees, sometimes being very liberal to them, sometimes being really strong to them. Also, it's all about giving and taking, right? So I've enjoyed this mentorship journey, and I'm glad to be a mentee of 2 different veteran Toastmasters. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
We're really glad that you chose us and agreed to listen to us.
No, but he's right, because being a mentor actually takes more. Like at Toastmasters, you have to evaluate. Evaluating is even more difficult than actually speaking, because you need to give the right kind of feedback. You need to be able to not only like give the cushy type of cushiony feedback, but the real feedback. Is the person actually going to grow? Because if you don't grow, then it's useless coming and just speaking.
Yeah, Toastmasters does provide that platform where we are told every time that we take up the role as an evaluator also and as a mentor also, that you don't just say flowery things, but you're supposed to say something that will make the person that you're evaluating or mentoring grow from what they were today. And I think that's a wonderful aspect that you just pointed out. As Toastmasters, I pointed out that you have been president for 2 clubs and you are leading in so many ways. How has the leadership aspect been developed in you being a Toastmaster actually?
Right. One thing that I would like to point out with Toastmasters is, as Toastmaster Chandran said, it's not only about being a leader. You are learning different nuances of being a leader, Let's say for me, I have already done many speeches, but I'm now starting the new Pathways Education manual, the program. And I've realized that I'm doing, the one that I'm doing, it's so much learning, because you are going on reflecting back on yourself. So it teaches you to reflect. And when anything teaches you to reflect, you will grow as a person, no matter what. And as a leader, I realize that whenever I'm speaking or whenever I'm talking to someone, or if I'm trying to inspire or influence someone, it's always at the back of my mind. I'm spontaneous, but at the same time I know exactly what are my words going to influence, how are my words going to influence. So that is only being taught only at Toastmasters. You could be the best of best speaker, but if you don't know exactly when to stop, when to start, when exactly to give the punchline, then you're not exactly a good speaker or a good leader. So I feel that in my leadership, anywhere that I go, I feel that I've been able to influence people, and that really makes me feel more powerful.
No.
So
Yeah.
that is a leader, I guess. You're making more leaders.
Yeah, as you can see, the tagline says where leaders are made. How about you, Toastmaster Chanda? And what are the opportunities of leadership that you have found within Toastmasters also? Does Toastmaster provide that kind of platform that Toastmaster Deepti was just talking about?
I wasn't aware that I would be getting these type of opportunities. I just joined in as a normal member, and when I went through the pathway guidelines, I enjoyed going online and looking at all the curriculum and trying to do my bit, and I was giving speeches after the other, and I was enjoying that. Just doing that, I was enjoying. Then one fine day, the ex-com of our club, Toastmaster Deepti was the president, called me up and said that we want you in our team as an associate. I said fine, as an associate. So I was taken in first as associate PR, and then later I was given the PR responsibility. And from there on, when I was given this responsibility, I started moving to different clubs to see what a VPPR does, or if I am taking up a role. Like for example, I am taking up a timer's role, as simple as timer's role. I would go to another club and see how a timer would perform their role. And it was learning by, you learn better when you see people performing it, you see it live. So I was going and doing that, and little did I realize that everyone was keeping a tab on me. And I visited almost, I think in 1 year time, I had visited all the clubs of Nepal. So I felt proud about that, but people were observing my activity, and I didn't know that you'd get up these leadership positions. And I was invited to be the area club growth director, which was really a big thing for me. And initially I was very skeptical about it, because how would it affect my professional life and how much time that I need to give. But I realized that it could be done, and from one to the other, and I think the journey is still very long, and there are lots of other tasks that we can do. Sometimes we undermine ourselves as that we will not be able to do the things that we are assigned. But if you have a good heart and you manage your time well, you balance everything. You've got to balance your work, your voluntary hat that you wear, and your family as well. So if you are a good juggler, I think you can do it. I've been juggling things quite well.
Yes, you have, and it's no wonder that you have been noticed and asked to take different positions. I'm sure in future also you are, right now also you have been asked to take up leadership position for future. Thank you both of you for having come here, shared your experiences, and taught why Toastmasters is the place where you have the supportive learning environment for members to become better quality speakers and leaders also. I hope in future we will be able to grow more speakers and more leaders from the time of being a student in school itself, and as senior leaders or senior management and teachers also, and other professionals also. Thank you for coming here. I hope you will continue to give back to Toastmasters.
It's a journey. I think it's a lifelong journey, and I think we will continue this till the time we can. Thank you for having.
Since we make a contribution to the society in some form or the other, I think this is what matters most. And thank you for inviting us, and I hope that the audience will be more intrigued towards what Toastmasters is, and we want to see the new generation take up Toastmasters, right? So that will make things better.
Thank you. On that note, I hope the new generation who are watching this show today would feel inspired to become better speakers and moreover better leaders by joining Toastmasters. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you both.
Thank you.